Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Chat box, you could say hi and where you're from. We'll wait for another 2 minutes. A few more participants in the queue. You can get into the chat box and say from which city you have logged in while we wait for others. Another 2 minutes before we begin. Welcome, everybody, to this webinar, Leadership for First-Time Managers. There are a few more people joining in. And we'll be starting in another minute. Thank you all for coming in. So much of dead air when we're talking about leaders. Tafsir Umar, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
To all the participants, if you're comfortable muting your sound, I'm okay with it. If you're okay with unmuting yourself, I'm fine with that too. Same goes with your video. Whenever, if you have a question or if you want me to stop, please chat or make yourself audible, and then we'll wait for you to complete what you have to say. Good evening, all of you, and welcome to this webinar. I'm so excited to see all of you. And I know it's a little difficult to take off time, especially to listen to somebody, and especially on a Saturday evening. We all find managers everywhere. But leaders are a rare breed to find. How many of you agree with that? Say yes in your chat. Say no if you disagree. Yes, no. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Good evening, Indranil. Welcome. Yes. I hear another yes. Okay, yes. Leaders are a rare breed. We must accept it. My name is Jojan Thomas. I welcome you all personally into this webinar. And during this next 30 minutes, we'll be sharing some of our experiences, and we'll try to make it as interactive as possible, but there's no force on you all that you should talk or make yourself visible, but you're free to comment on the chat box. I have close to around more than 2 decades of experience in creating leaders, leadership organizations, and leadership teams. I was also a manager like you one day. Most of you are managers. Some of you are yet to be managers. Doesn't matter. We're all managers in one way or the other. I have a question for y'all. Does having a degree make you a leader? Yes, no. In your chat box. Does having an MBA make you a leader? Yes, no. No, no, no. Does having the title of a manager make you a leader? Yes, no. I see so many no's. So kind of we all agree that all these degrees and designations and titles don't actually make you a leader. Let me touch upon a small study. Can we go into the next slide? There was a survey by Forbes which talks about a study which was done, and 98% of the managers needed or required management training. So we find a lot of managers, yes. There was also a survey done by Deloitte, which said that 90% need to be, 90% of the staff, 90% of the people need to be developed as leaders. So, which means to say, both these great organizations which have been working have found that there are managers in abundance, but very few leaders. That's what we all agreed upon. How many of us have already been managers and think that we are already on the way to leadership, or we are on the path to leadership? You say one in your chat box if you are already on your path to leadership. One. If you all believe that you're already on the path to leadership, in your chat box, type 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Great. So that makes us aware and conscious that leadership is a journey. I want to highlight to you 2 scenarios, and I want you all to participate or evaluate for yourself as to what the scenario would look like. Scenario number 1. There's this manager, usually it happens, the manager comes, talks to the team and says that we need to accomplish n number of tasks. Please complete this by 5 before you leave for the day. And I don't want anybody leaving without completing the task. And the manager leaves. Scenario number 2. The manager stays back, becomes part of the team, participates with the team, helps them and supports them, or he's just around. These are the 2 scenarios. Scenario number 1, the manager assigns and walks away. Scenario number 2, the manager assigns and he's working with the team. Now, a little question for the participants. Which manager would you like to work for? The 1 or the 2? 2. It's an all-out 2. Looks like it's an all-out 2. Why? Welcome, Nitin Singh.
Thank you, sir.
Why 2? Why 2? Why everybody chose for 2? Nitin, if you missed on this particular scenario number 1 is the manager assigns the tasks and leaves for the day, telling the team, you have to complete the task before you go home. Nobody leaves before you complete the task. Scenario number 2, the manager says, let's complete the task before we leave, stays back and works with the team.
Sir, scenario number 2.
Scenario number 2. It's an overall scenario number 2 is the manager whom you would like to work for. As managers, while on a journey towards leadership, it is very, very important to understand the expectations of the team. It is more important to understand the expectations more than the team understanding your expectation. So, scenario number 2, the manager or trying to be leadership. If your speaker is giving problems, please mute it. When you need to on it and when you need to speak, you can unmute yourself. So we all like managers who spend time with the team, who becomes part of the team, who works with the team, right? That's an overall two. And that's what projects us as leaders. You all agree with me, right? I have a small story or an incident to tell, which will actually highlight basically leadership and what leadership shouldn't be like. A manager on one side delegates the tasks and leave away, while as a leader leads from the front. That's the basic explanation of what a leader and what a manager is. The basic difference. I have a small instant or an incident which happened. I was a big boss and I called one particular department to come in for a review meeting. So there was this new manager who had joined the department, who was heading the department. He, along with his team, came in, and I was asking the manager, what is the update on this project? What is the update on this task which was to be completed? What is the update on the task which I had assigned to the team? Please update me. The manager was clueless because, for obvious reasons, he was the new manager and he didn't know what was happening in the team. It was just, I guess, 4 or 5 days since he had joined. So he was all red and he was completely embarrassed. And then suddenly there was a team member, Seema, who just stepped in and she said, "Can I answer some of the questions on behalf of the manager?" I said, "Yes, you can." And she updated me on the status of various projects or various tasks which was pending, which was completed. And she also reassured that give us a week's time and we'll update you on the actual status of completion. Now, Seema was acting on behalf of the manager. Was she a manager? Technically speaking, maybe no. Was she acting like a manager? Maybe yes. Did Seema have a designation of a manager? No, she was a team member. She was just a team member. But why did she choose to step up and speak? She was acting like a leader. She was being a leader. She was representing the team and being a leader. It is not the title or the designation. Seema didn't have the title or designation. But leadership is a choice. You can choose to be a spectator and be a manager, or you can choose to display leadership, lead from the front, because leadership is a character. It's your attitude. Nobody designates you as a leader. A lot of people get the designation of a manager. That's the difference between a designated manager and a true leader. I was impressed by the way this lady took up the entire team's responsibility and committed on behalf of the team to display acute amount of leadership. I'm sure these kind of situations have come in our lives too. How many of you have stepped up in this kind of a situation? Strike one if you have. Even if you have, there's nothing wrong. You'll definitely come across such situations. In the chat box, type 1 if you come across a situation where you stood up as a leader, though you're not part of the team, as a manager. 1. Okay. So sometimes it calls for us to be leaders and without a designation. And that's the time which you have an opportunity to show and display leadership, because leadership is a character. Yes, sir. Nitin has something to say. Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah. Can I have so you don't need to have authority. Nitin, you don't need to have authority. You don't need to be designated to be a leader. Okay, but it's unlike a manager's role where the manager is designated, he's got a title, but a leader don't need to have a.
Sir, actually, I'm not a manager, but I like to do work as a leader.
Exactly. Because leadership is an attitude. It's something within you. You don't need to be designated. You need to be a leader because leader is a lifelong journey. We'll come to that. I want to share with you another instance which happened. There was this board presentation review which was happening, and the department managers, each of the department managers have to present from the department their performances, what they did, what they didn't do, what is the work in progress, and everything. So one particular department, usually what happens is the managers come and they say, team, this is a presentation which we have to present to the top leadership team, and the presentation is happening on the 15th. Now, come on, let's work together. And the manager assigns all the tasks, and each member from the team sits and they work on the presentation. Then they put the presentation together, share it with the manager, and the manager goes and presents. That's what is happening. So this manager to put up the presentation, and we on the part of the leadership were watching the presentation, and he came along with the team and they started doing a presentation. The presentation was fantastic. The data was presented so well. Everything was perfect. Couldn't ask for something more than this. And the board, the team, the leadership team was highly impressed with the presentation, the way it was presented, the data, how they had simplified it, and every question was answered even before somebody could ask the question. So it was a perfect 10, I would say. And then one of the leadership team members congratulated the manager, the head of the department, for the amazing presentation they had done. And he took credit and he said, thank you very much. And he walked out with the team. This is a situation which really happened, and you might also encounter such kind of a situation sometimes. Now, in that kind of a situation, the department head or the manager, he got all the credit for the presentation. Now, he acknowledged the credit and he walked away with his team and everybody were happy. In this situation, was the manager right or was he wrong? Type R for right and W for wrong. You can also unmute and speak if you want to speak, but you could type right, wrong, whatever you felt. The manager was wrong, some say. Why would he be wrong? Okay.
So basically, the part of a team, sir, was missing, and the credit goes to manager itself. But the manager can distribute the credit to the team members because they are the hands to making that presentation looks like so much perfect and so much aligned.
Correct. You're right. Anybody else want to unmute and say something about the situation where the manager got all the credit? Was the team feeling good about it? Was the team, according to you, feeling bad about it? What do you think would have happened? What the team would have been going through when they have worked on the presentation and everything went as per, the manager was wrong, you say, okay, everybody says it is unanimously said that the manager was wrong. Why was the manager wrong? The manager was wrong because he was just being a manager. He stole the credit of his team. It was a team who put the presentation together. Just one word to the leadership team saying that it's not me, I just made the presentation. The credit must go to my team. They did a wonderful job of working 2 weeks on this presentation. And I would like to give a big round of applause to the team. The accolade should have gone to the team. They would have felt really bad. That would have been a clear display of leadership. Leadership is when you put your people ahead of you. Give the credit to them. You've already reached up there. You don't need much. You don't need much of it. The manager always put himself or herself ahead of his team. That's what the manager was doing. But as a leader puts their people first. They say, Even if I was to get the credit for what I have done, I would say, no, it's because of them that I have achieved this. It is because of them that my team has performed. Today, we have achieved our targets. It's not because of me, it's because of my team. That is leadership. The leader puts the people ahead of them. They say that it's all for them. Give the credit, give the recognition, and show it in public. You cannot be rewarding your people anything better if you're not able to recognize them in public. And the manager here, this is a real life situation which happened. The manager here just pulled away the trust of his team. All they were waiting was to hear from the manager saying that it's a team who did it. Even if you didn't want to clap your hands for them. A lot of times we come across managers who steal the credit of the team members. You as a manager, or I as a manager, would continue to be a manager for the rest of my life, the rest of your lives, if you're not willing to put your people ahead of you. Anybody has any questions to ask or any opinions that you would like to share? A manager, like we said, the title is for a manager, the title is a destination. For the leadership, it's a journey. How many of you think that leadership is a destination and not a journey? From a manager, you grow into a leader. You mature into a leader. How many of you have started your journey towards leadership? I would say each participant here has started his journey into leadership. The very fact that you have enrolled for this webinar to understand what leadership is, you have begun your journey. You understand very well that leadership is a journey, and you have started the journey very well. I'm here to help you out on your journey towards leadership because it's a long drawn journey. It's not as short as getting to be a manager. This leadership is a long drawn journey, and I'm here to help you out. Anybody have any other questions? I have a challenge to throw to the team. Are you all ready for the challenge? Okay. During the next week, make a note of one instance. We don't want many. You might have many, but pick up one instant where you exhibited leadership skill and share it on the group. It will be a great learning for the team. Okay. And two, it will make you very, very conscious about why you should be a leader and how you can be a leader. We all exhibit a lot of leadership skills every day, a lot of times, but we ourselves fail to notice that or acknowledge that. So during the coming week, from Monday to Friday, or you might even encounter that situation much earlier in the week, just make a note of it, of that particular instance where you exhibited leadership. It could be helping out somebody, it could be stepping up for somebody else, or helping out somebody, or taking a decision which could benefit the team. It could be anything else, but you are exhibiting yourself as a leader. And put in a few sentences into our group, and it's going to be a great learning for the team who participated in this webinar. So if you all have any questions to ask, you could unmute and ask the question, or you want to type. You say, I don't want to show my face, but I will only make the team hear my voice. That's okay. Or you want to type something, and I'll be glad to give you situations that could answer those queries. We have 5-10 minutes more, and we should make best use of it. I thank you all very, very much for taking out time. And I'm sure you have found some value in it. Even if it is 1%, you've clearly begun your journey towards leadership in the right platform. The world needs leadership. The corporate world needs leadership. People around us, you can see plenty of managers, but very few leaders. And it's not difficult to be a leader. All you need to do is be a nice person. So simple. While managing a team, don't give others what you don't want to take. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. It's a very, very simple formula. So I tell the managers, it's a very, very simple formula to be a leader. Be a nice human being, and you automatically become a leader. Managers are throwing around authority. Okay, let's recap on what we did. First thing, the leaders lead from front. Leaders lead from front because we took about the instance where the manager allocates the task and walks away. The second scenario where the manager stays with the team and then works with the team. So that was leaders lead from the front. The second recap, leaders don't need authority. The story of Seema, where he said that she stepped up when there was an occasion. Leaders don't need designations. Leaders need the attitude of a leader, need the behavior of a leader. Displaying the behavior of a leader is more important. So Seema's story was the second one. And the third was the presentation story, where we said the manager stole the credit of the team. And what happened? The team was very unhappy. The team lost all the trust in the manager. So with this recap, I would say leaders put the people ahead of them. Now, do we have any questions?
So I have a question.
Sure.
So basically, we are a manager and we wants to be a leader, right? So, but sometimes what happens, the managers, like when we are reporting in, they act like a managers or kind of boss. So what in that kind of scenarios, what should we do to get motivated and do our work?
Yeah, there are situations, like I told you, there are a lot of managers around us, and they need not be encouraging. I'll give you a small anecdote for that. Just because you don't eat the lion, does it mean that the lion shouldn't eat you? No, right? Okay. Just because you want to be treated right doesn't mean that the manager is going to treat you right. Or just because the manager treated you bad in your initial stages, what you have a choice of treating your team too bad. You're never going to be a leader. Leadership is about judging what is right and wrong and doing what you like to be treated, how you like to be treated. There are managers who's not going to be encouraging. There are managers who are not going to listen to you. But that does not change the leader in you. The leader in you should stay ahead. Every day, make a note of one instance where you have displayed yourself as a leader. So you become more conscious as a leader. That's what we need. We need leaders. The corporate need leaders. The world need leaders. We don't need managers. Managers is just a title, a designation. Anybody who manages anything is a manager. Somebody who's digging the road is a good manager because he's able to manage his own things. So you have a choice. You have an attitude of a manager, or you have an attitude of a leader. Choice is yours. Anybody else, any questions? So thank you all very much for making out time, and you're all free to chat with me, send me a mail, send me a message, and then I'll be able to help you out. I'll be glad to help you out in any any situation that you encounter during your journey from manager to being a leader. You are a leader. The choice what you made today makes you a leader. You've begun your journey of leadership. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your patience. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
great evening and rest of the day for
Right.
some. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nice to talk to you, sir. Bye. Have a
Thank
great evening. Bye.